I glanced at my phone and saw 27 missed calls from my mother-in-law, Cora. Before I could even process this, my phone buzzed again. Picking up, I heard Cora's frustrated voice. "Hello, wasn't this month's allowance supposed to be $2,500? It's late." I sighed. "Cora, I've mentioned that the payment might be delayed." But she continued, hardly acknowledging my situation, fixated on her needs. I was exhausted by her constant demands, even in difficult times. "Cora," I paused, gathering my courage. "Your son, Julian, has passed away. I can't continue the allowance." "My name is Freya. I'm 28, working at a major finance director and juggling life as a housewife. I met Julian through shared hobbies. His kindness and warm smile quickly won me over, and after a year of dating, we got engaged. We enjoyed a harmonious relationship and eventually married without major issues, until an unforeseen complication arose. Cora, Julian's mother, became his sole family after the passing of his father. The first time I met her before our wedding, she openly displayed her displeasure. "So you're Julian's choice? Quite plain. What does he see in you?" I was stunned, not sure if she was joking. During that uncomfortable visit, Julian had to intervene as his mother's words grew harsher. "Mom, how can you say such things about Freya? I chose her," Cora retorted. "I'm just looking out for you, trying to choose someone suitable." "Why can't you just support us?" Julian countered, his frustration evident. The argument escalated, casting a shadow over our first meeting. As we prepared to leave, Cora, still appearing upset, pulled Julian aside. "You're keeping your promise about the allowance after marriage, right?" "Yes, Mom, but let's not talk about this here," Julian replied, visibly distressed. The tension lingered all the way home. In the car, I finally asked Julian about his conversation with his mother. "Julian, about your mom and the allowance." He sighed. "I should have told you, Freya. After my dad died, I promised to support her with $4,470 monthly." $3,000? I echoed, taken aback by the revelation and its implications for our future. My reaction was one of utter surprise as Julian let out a heavy sigh and slowly began to unravel the truth about his mother's finance director situation. "Actually, my mom accumulated a lot of debt from gambling at a casino years ago, and she's still paying it off," he explained. "Her health isn't the best these days, so she doesn't get out much, but the bills don't stop, you know?" "But $35,000, Julian? Isn't that excessive?" I asked, trying to keep my voice even. He nodded, looking wary. "I've tried to reduce it, but then she starts calling non-stop. No matter what, she's still my mother, and I worry about her living alone." I understood Julian's dedication. His father had passed away, leaving Cora as his only family. Despite her difficult personality, she was his beloved mother. Up until then, I had only seen Julian as the kindest soul. 1 month after our wedding, during a lunch break, I received an unexpected call from Cora. "Hello, Freya, long time, no see. Can we chat a bit?" She chirped into the phone. "Of course, Cora." "What do you need?" I replied. "I was hoping you could start sending me some money," she said casually. I was taken aback, struggling to find the right words. Cora, sensing my hesitation, pressed on. "You work at a finance director, right? So, you must have a decent salary." "Not exactly," I started, but she cut me off, accusing me of lying to avoid helping her. "Cora, you're still receiving $4,470 a month from Julian, aren't you?" I managed to ask. "So what?" she retorted defiantly. I tried to remain firm. "Cora, $4,470 a month is a substantial amount. And yet, you're asking for more?" She was quick to justify herself. "If you could send an extra $2,500, it would lessen the burden on Julian. You see, he's the guarantor for my debts. If I miss payments, the debt collectors will target him." "But aren't you using part of the $4,470 from Julian to pay back the debt?" I pressed. "I haven't told Julian, but my debts are significant," she admitted. making it clear that even her own son was unaware of the depth of her finance director troubles. With our future plans to start a family and the expected rise in expenses, the idea of taking on Cora's debts was daunting. If her payments fell behind and the responsibility shifted to Julian, the accruing interest could become overwhelming. Refusing to help might protect our immediate finances, but could jeopardize Julian's credit and our finance director's stability. Reluctantly, I agreed to her request. "All right, I'll start sending the money." "Really?" "Thank God, Freya! I knew you'd agree," Cora exclaimed. "With your contribution, that'll make it $2,500 total from you and Julian. This should enable you to pay off your debt completely within a year, right? You promised to focus on clearing all your debts?" I confirmed. "I understand, and I will," she assured me, leaving me hopeful yet apprehensive about our agreement. As I listened to Cora's relentless demands over the phone, her words punctuated by anger, I felt the weight of her expectations crashing down on me. "You're at a good job. You must have plenty of savings. I need you to transfer them to me now," she yelled through the receiver. Eventually, her tone took a more menacing turn. "Since you married Julian, you're responsible too. If he can't pay, then you have to. If you refuse, I'll make you the guarantor. Understand?" Something inside me reached its limit. I was cornered, pushed to the edge by her ruthless attitude, and I made a desperate decision. I declared firmly into the phone, "Julian has passed away. I can't send you any more money." Cora's response was a stunned, "What?" This extreme statement was a part of a test my husband and I had agreed upon to gauge Cora's reaction to a fabricated story of Julian's death. If she showed any genuine concern or regret, we might consider continuing our finance director support. However, if she reacted without empathy, it would confirm our decision to cut ties. To my dismay, Cora's reaction was far from what any mother would exhibit. She burst into laughter. "Yay, what's so funny?" I asked, my voice tinged with disbelief. "Well, isn't it obvious? If Julian is dead, then I'll get a part of his inheritance too," she cackled, revealing her true colors. I was speechless, utterly shocked by her brazenness. She continued, "Listen, 2/3 of Julian's assets are yours, but 1/3 is mine." My husband and I exchanged looks, both of us feeling a mix of anger and betrayal. With a firm nod from Julian, I continued, pressing her further. "Cora, did you hear what I said? Julian is dead. Doesn't that upset you? Your own son?" Her cold reply came quickly. "What about it? Just make sure to send me some money. I won't let you get away with not doing it." With that, the line went dead, leaving a hollow dial tone echoing in the room. I turned to Julian, seeing the distress and resolve on his face. "Are you okay?" I asked softly. He met my gaze, his eyes hardened with resolve. "I'm cutting ties with her. She's likely to come here demanding money, but we'll handle it then. Are you okay with this?" "Yes, I have no regrets," I replied, sharing in his determination. "After that call, it's clear she's not the mother you deserve." A few days later, as expected, Cora showed up at our door. For the moment, I decided to hide, allowing Julian to confront the situation. This was the culmination of our decision and necessary end to a relationship poisoned by greed and manipulation. A person who valued money over her own son's supposed passing could not be considered family. In the adjacent room, my husband was listening in, but I decided to handle the confrontation with Cora myself. Her approach was menacing, almost demonic in its intensity. "Give me Julian's inheritance right now," she demanded, her tone devoid of any maternal warmth. "He's already dead, isn't he?" "It's pointless to talk now." "You never even visited him," I retorted, shocked by her brazenness. "What are you saying? Are you really his mother? You're so annoying." "Just give me the inheritance. I don't mind calling a lawyer. Talking more would be a waste of time," she snapped. Just then, my husband stepped out from the next room. Cora gasped, her face contorted in shock as if she had seen a ghost. "Julian, why aren't you dead?" "Long time no see, Mom," he said coolly, his voice dripping with irony. Sorry, but the news about my death was a lie. A lie? How could you be so disrespectful? Cora fumed. I needed to see your true colors, Mom. I wanted to know what you'd do about the allowance if your son, had died. Julian explained, his tone steady and revealing no emotion. But you turned out just as I feared, a gold digger, he continued, his words slicing through the tense air. How dare you call your mother that? She shouted. Silence. I'm cutting ties with you. A toxic parent like you, Julian declared firmly. Cora's mouth fell open, unable to grasp the reality that her own son was disowning her. What does this mean, Julian? She stammered. It means exactly what I said. I can't consider someone like you as my mother anymore, Julian replied sharply. What about the allowance? What will I do? She pleaded, desperation creeping into her voice. You're on your own with the debts, he stated bluntly. We're moving on. Wait, please. If you do that, what about my living expenses? Cora's eyes filled with tears as she reached out to Julian, who coldly shook off her hand. I don't care about your living expenses. You've been living off us without a single apology, understanding your despicable nature now. Don't you show up in front of us again? Julian commanded. No, wait. Julian, are you going to abandon your mother? She cried out, but Julian ignored her pleas. He seized her arm, guided her to the front door, tossed her shoes and bag outside, and escorted her out. Cora created a scene outside for a while, but eventually disappeared, likely overwhelmed by the scrutiny of the neighbors. Despite her multiple attempts to reach out, we ignored all her calls, and her number was set to be automatically rejected. We completed our move, and the issue of co-signing for the debts became invalid since Cora had made Julian the co-signer without his consent, absolving him of any responsibility. Without the allowance from us, Cora's life became challenging, a natural consequence of her actions. She had been using the money for gambling instead of settling her debts and now faces a substantial debt burden. Pursued daily by debt collectors and unable to indulge in gambling anymore, she appears to be working tirelessly from dawn to dusk. It's unlikely she'll be able to fully clear her debts anytime soon. She will have to keep working until she physically can't. As for us, we are enjoying fulfilling days in our new home. Julian's health has stabilized, and he has returned to work. Recently, we discovered a new life growing. We are expecting a baby next year. Moving forward, we aim to cherish happy moments as a family of 3, free from past burdens.